other back to back and having the team play unlocked, then it should be Partisans in this EMEA Master Play-ins.
Exactly, as we head on to the Rift here. Game number 2 in this qualifications match. Will just be a 5-point to kick us off. No invades to be found. We'll see if there's any late vision plays to be had, as is common now in this point in the meta. We'll see where these junglers tend to go. As we said, all eyes potentially going to be on Skumond in this early game for Aegis. As you pointed out, great supportive jungler, but doesn't really have a lane to play around specifically. Perhaps the bot lane, but nothing really shouts out as this is, you know, the Vi Ari level of 2v2 we had the Partisans in game 1.
Yeah, no, I think Aegis, they also drafted themselves a bit of a hole. This is a typical team comp where you expect that scaling is going to be a very big factor in the game, and where you expect that you will just be a decent and a good enough team, or even the better team, to get to that mid to late game without any, without any issues. Because if you look at a team comp, the moment Shigenari or Eka falls behind, they have a huge damage issue. With the Orianna even more so than a Jinx, because Jinx can just get one kill or assist, get excited, and actually fix half of that issue. But yeah, I'm kind of tired of seeing Oriannas, I'll be honest, because it's one of those champions where if Orianna is behind, it just kind of doesn't do anything. It feels like a win more champion. So for Eka, I want to see him win more. I want to see Aegis actually take that early lead so that he has items, because once an Orianna has items, it's one shockwave and the game's over.
And so much of that impact does, at least on the face of it, seem to be based around that one button. If the button doesn't do any damage, no one's really having a good time. As Huntera steps forward for the early play, but takes some damage back himself. And we see Shigenari, of course, poking with those rockets, as we would expect him to have a bit of the run of that early on. Mid lane and top lane still poking out as usual. And then for Snilla, if we know that Skumond potentially has some work to do to keep his lanes topped up, is there that much onus on Snilla to do much of anything? Or is he kind of farming to 6? Or is he looking for counter gank? What's his role in the early game?
I mean, if you look at the lanes, you'll have a push team mid lane, so you will need to make sure that you keep vision control in check around that mid lane, make sure that he's safe, but also that your jungle entrances are safe. And as you can see, he's playing towards the top side, because you will have a pushing Gwen there. It's not like you're going to dive the sign, but it gives you some safety. And then it gives you the option to just see, okay, is Gwen getting ganked? No, I'll just reset and go towards bot side to see that nothing goes right there. I would like for Snilla to just power farm to 6, make sure nothing crazy happens, because again, once they hit those level 6 spikes, if you have a Lissandra ulti to play around, then you can dive whatever lane you feel like and actually pull it off with Lissandra or Viego.
Exactly. You see currently bot lane pushing in. Huntera was landing a lot of flays in that early game. This is the specialist pick for Huntera, some would say. The Thresh and the Leona, both classic picks for him. And you know he's going to be leveraging it when bot lane was such a pain point for Aegis last game. Now they are doing a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable. They're, of course, into a Sivir. Certainly a different beast than the Tristana in these first few levels.
100%, and the beauty is it's this first Thresh game, this EMEA Master Play-ins, but you already see that the lane control is there. It's a different lane, of course, but Shigenari coming in, having that comfort, playing forwards. This basically is just a new series. It's now a best of one, and the next game is going to be a best of one as well as you win, because now you are in full force and you can actually rely on your AD carry to do probably more work in team fights, and that seems to be the call from Aegis since draft, where they just give him the Jinx, give him that hyper carry, and they know that the Sivir is probably going to come out from Yoppa, and they're fine with that trade-off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, second seeds now just go into the series with 1 loss down. That's the snap rule change from right there. When it comes to LFL, we just need to stop these guys, man.
Yeah, we just need to give them 1 loss.
Yeah, just give all LFL teams a free loss in the EMEA to see if it changes anything. Who knows?
Ooh, this could actually...
Shigenari there. Snilla with a gank angle. Jinx with the summoners. Pretty low right now. Goes for the zap for some reason and does instantly lose the cleanse. Flash is now 1 hit from dead. Can Yoppa find it? Boomerang blade for the first blood. That flash really took a while to come out, I must say.
Can you actually wake me up? I think I'm just watching the last game all over again. I see the AD carry die in a situation where he should kind of live, and Shigenari, I mean, he arrived for the game, but he wasn't awake yet. You have to instantly try to get out there, and he goes for the cleanse first. As you rightfully said in that moment, not really the best call. Actually invests the flash still. And first blood on Yoppa, that's not the start you want.
Yeah, we may have started a new series, Dino, but we put the tape in for game 1 by accident, and we've just started again. That's the first blood.
It's stuck on repeat, I think.
Yeah, so someone checked that one. Someone slapped the TV. I think it's broken. But we do have a small lead, once again, for Partizan in the early game. And Snealer getting involved there. The first, actually, to hit the gank. Skumond, we're still yet to see him make an impact on one of the lanes. He is level 5, will get level 6 soon, and can leverage that Vi ultimate. And Hantera now on the roams too. He's going to walk into Clocks, checking him.
I mean, I was already, would have already been content with Snealer just doing what I laid out for him, like start bot to top, make sure your top lane is safe to push in and leverage that advantage of being a Gwen against the Sion. And then go bot side and just make sure your bot doesn't get in any issue. Lundorf
Commits the needlework. He's out of stacks though, and the ult was committed by Lot as well, but the Gwen definitely we'd expect to be bullying and is achieving that one. As Skumond heads onto the Dragon, in fact, uses the good reset timings. Pretty comfortable where he knows where Snealer is. There's an ult committed by Ica onto Rilla as well. The Shockwave pushing him far out of lane, and with no TP, Rilla's going to be a bit of a tough spot.
Good play from Ica. I mean, a lot of people might frown at that Shockwave being used, but it's just, you know, you don't have the kill pressure, but you have the pressure to push him low, push him out of lane. Without the TP, he's going to lose out a bit on XP, and Ica was there to step up last game as well.
Damage onto Hantera with the Grand Entrance, but Clocks knows they can't full commit here. They might have gotten that first blood. The lane is not won. It's not like Tristana, where you can just try and snowball super hard. The Sivir definitely needs time to get rolling. If they lose respect for Hantera, they will find themselves punished very quickly.
And now, by now we're sure it's a different game than the first one. I need to wait because Lot might be in trouble. Doesn't have the ult.
Doesn't have the ult, doesn't have the flash, but Lundorf is here, skipping up as Vi's on the way. Perfect flash by Lot there, gets over that thick wall. Will get himself to safety, but Snilla again. Value on the map play.
Snilla is the maestro of this Partizan's early game. He's dictating the tempo perfectly, and first he makes a play happen in the bot lane that should not ever happen. He gets the first blood for Yoppa, and then he gets the flash out of Lot that already invested the ult, already invested the TP. He's going to stay, but he's not going to be happy about it. Because, one, he's in a matchup against the Gwen, and two, now he's really in danger of getting ganked again if the lane pushes up. So Lundorf can control that lane completely and make sure that he gets that lead that he wants to get with the Gwen. Now the Gwen is level 6.
Love the energy from Clocks there, just walking into the face of the Zap from Jinx just to get a Q off. They did have Snilla coming down the river, potentially trying to bait them into a fight, but Shiganari and Hantera will not take the bait. If there's anything Aegis has, it's respect for Partizans, and they will not be baited into a silly play. But Shiganari is picked up by the Lantern, didn't have the flash, and Clocks will lose that Summoner. Snilla still in the area. It looks like this time he'll get away.
Looking for that redive though, so Aegis needs to spend some time on the map to move resources around, move people around, pressure that bot side so that the dive can't happen. And we are now definitely certain we're in a different game because I've seen Clocks glued to that bot lane for the past 8.5 minutes. He hasn't made his appearance in the mid lane, and that makes sure that Eka is getting a comfortable Orianna early game, but also that Shiganari actually can't really arrive yet in the game. Like, he's getting bullied a bit, but then if you look at the CS, he's completely fine, and that's then the big difference between him and Hantera actually piloting the Varus, is that this is his job, and he's kind of good at it.
He's quite skilled at Thresh, honestly.
Yeah,
and to be honest, the big brain from Partizans here is Clocks don't go mid lane, because now Ica doesn't have 2 kills for free. So this is actually how they set Ica behind from game 1. You just let him farm up, and he will be weaker because we haven't sprinted into him.
We're not actually feeding him the kills this time, trying to dive this guy 3v1. So that way he can't get ahead that early. Yeah, that's actually smart. Man, you should coach a team.
We coach Partizans, man. I know. We're on the same wavelength, me and them. You know, we've had time in the NLC. We're both just running away from very strong mid laners, you know. We have the same mindset here. We flee from trouble. We do not head it face on.
I don't think this comp... Well, this comp is actually, I was going to say, not that great at fleeing from trouble, but you have a Sivir, you have a Gwen, you have
they're all
a lot of
themselves, right? They're all running in 5 different directions.
Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense, and they all have tools to peel for themselves. But I'm still waiting on that first big moment for Rilla on the Lissandra. I mean, it is a passive pick, you get counter picked, it's not like you're winning the lane, and the good thing that Aka's doing as well, why he invested stuff like that ulti, why he's pushing up, is to make sure that Rilla can't leave the lane, and this is what you see with Lissandra all the time. But most of the times, then you see the jungler come, because it just takes one claw forwards, one press of an ult button to get that Orianna to spin the cleanse and try maybe even to get the flash, but that hasn't happened yet. So I'm kind of waiting on a big moment for him.
Yeah, as we touched on before for Rilla, he's very much the enabling mid laner in this tournament. You know, he has such a low gold percentage, damage percentage. He is playing the Lissandras, the Aries. He's really trying to just set his team up for success, set up Yoppa for success, set up Snila and Lundor. And he is succeeding in that, you know, despite the fact going down in the lane in game 1, he finds the game-winning charm. Now, once again, he is going down quietly in game 2 and is ready to fulfill that same role with the Lissandra that he can set his team up with. As we do have Snilla again on the bot side. He has been investing a lot of time into this bot lane river, and with another Drake coming up, perhaps they will make a maneuver onto it to even that one up.
Yoppa right now also has a lot of wave control. Has that pickaxe double longsword, just instantly shoves the wave in, and that gives Snilla the time to start this dragon. We're going back to the first game again, where we're just trading the first dragons. Skewment is actually in the air, but is walking over vision, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue for Partizans.
We want to just charge our way into the Lissandra, the Rakan. So gives the free resets over to Viego. They'll clear out the vision, but there it is, evened up, and it's a Mountain Soul for us here today. Lot's going to be looking at that one with beady eyes. I'm really thinking, yes. I see more resistances on Sion. I think yes.
Give it to me now. Give it to me already. But he's going to have to wait a while. It's a better soul to fight over, though, than the last one. Skewment. This is aggressive.
This is aggressive, and Snilla come around. And that miss there will dissuade any further action. Hantera brings him to safety. Skewmont will just pull that recall. He did have the Herald as well. Again, Skewmont with, I think, 100% Herald control in this series so far. As Snilla has been dedicated so much more time to that mid-bot side.
In the end, it's an even Steven game again, like last time. We're 12 minutes in. It's one dragon for one kill going over to the side of Partisans. It's not enough to dissuade his scaling comp from coming online. Ooh, Lord.
The tower. And
That's
takes
risky.
2 shots, takes 3 shots in fact, and has to get out of there. Drops the needlework, but he is Gwen and can just, now he's ahead in HP, just because that's how Gwen works, I guess. He does have the Rift Maker to be fair, but still, taking 3 tower shots as like an AP building champion and then coming out ahead is, it's a little gross.
Well, you have to be a lot chilling in your lane, seeing this Gwen put up so far. It's like, this minion wave is going to go down. If I ult him on their tower, I can probably win that trade, right? The tower is my buddy.
It just doesn't work. The Skewmon commits hard into Snilla, follows him over the wall. He's already dropped the Heartbreaker and the Flash. But Clocks comes in to run interference. And the play is stifled once again.
Man, I like seeing this fight Trish link up, because it's even when you get in trouble, even when you engage a bit too far, popping the Rift Herald in the bot lane for Shiganari really helps, and then Hantera can just lantern you out as long as you don't get cancelled. And yeah, you see both teams trying to find their own ways to make an opening, make a big play happen, but then you look at the scoreboard, it's like, oh, nope, it's still an even game.
Well, committed, and Everfrost forces the cleanse from Ica. Snilla is there, but remember, doesn't have the ult or the flash. Ica doesn't have the shockwave either. And yeah, these plays, their attempts are being made, Dino, but no one even really feels close to going down so far.
No, we're actively problem solving. The issue is that every question we throw at the enemy team, they just catch and they're like, okay, yeah, this is not an issue. We can solve this instantly. And for now, it's an even game. If you look at scaling, it's not even that bad for Partisans, because Gwen kind of scales really aggressively in the side lanes, and there isn't really a champion that wants to 1v1 the Gwen in the late game. So even in that regard, it's not too bad of a situation, I think.
Yeah, and generally speaking, coming out of this even game, we're at the 14-minute mark. The plates are now gone. 1 kill only on the board, even dragons. You know, looking as this game goes later and later, who is more comfortable with this super quiet early game, with these plays just kind of whiffing?
I mean, we have a small freeze right now that's being solved by production. I think technically, I would say Aegis is more comfortable. I mean, their team fight 5v5 is way stronger technically, as long as you find the opening, find the peel for your backline. Lissandra doesn't really get to jump your Jinx or your Orianna, but that's where you have the Trish for. The other caveat you want to make is that they just lost a game in the hyper late game or in the late game, where they kind of got caught off guard on the Baron, and then they didn't have vision control anymore, and then Aka misstepped around the bush because he already almost got picked by Rilla with a charm, and then walked back to the same bush. Didn't realize Rilla actually was still holding that position. So the mental advantage should be on the side of Partisans. Now, Aegis is
Yeah.
a very good team. They're an LFL third seed. They're really experienced. So in that regard, I don't think it's going to make a big difference, but it does get into
Mhm.
your clothes a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. When it felt for so much of game one like Aegis were the ones, receiving the attempts from Partisans and rebuffing them and outplaying them and just going, no, you can't just do this. You can't make this easy. We know how to counter this. But it was ultimately a couple of missteps from Aegis. Eventually, they finally dropped the ball, right? They got challenged so many times. Eventually, they finally dropped it. They lost that Baron sneak from Partisans. And as you say, Ica put that 1 foot wrong around the Dragon Pit. So Partisans know that they can break down Aegis over the course of a long game. They can chip away at them, chip away at the mental, and finally find that opening. And the game just ended, pretty
Yeah.
much. Within a few minutes of that Baron take, the game was done.
It was a really long game until it wasn't. That was basically what
Yeah.
happened there at the end. Now, the beauty of this game as well is you can have exactly the same carbon copy team fight in the late game where just one pick can be enough. At the side of Partisans, they have a Viego, they have a Lissandra, and Lissandra passive is horribly underestimated in late game team fights. If you take one kill and the Lissandra passive gets to chase someone and Viego gets to take over someone, you have the on the hunt from Sivir behind that. The fight could be over. But if Aegis finds that one wombo, if Lot hits one big ulti, if Eka hits one big shockwave before the Gwen even goes immune, then the fight could also be played. So it's gonna
Yeah.
it has the tendency maybe to go to the same mid to late game,
Yeah.
and then we're in for a very tense, very tense game too.
Yeah, it's not like if it goes to late game, we can go, 100% this team will win, because there were so many
No.
points in that first game where we were like, I don't know who even won that fight, let alone who is going to win this game. So it is very much all to play for. For Partisans, though, having the extra game of leniency can be nice to know that, if it all does go wrong, you don't have to think, you don't have to get in your own head before the game's even over and go, we've thrown it, we've lost the opportunity, it's over. We've still got another game after that. So even if you make a mistake, you can shake it off and you can get back into it.
I mean, they already showed up. Let's be honest. Like you're the first seed
Yeah.
from a non-accredited ARL, and you beat the third seed from LFL in the first game. And then comes the asterisk and the caveat and the 018 zillion support that didn't play a
Mm.
competitive game in 8 years, but it
Yeah.
was still a really close game because it's just such a
Yeah.
damn good team, and you beat them in the first game, so you bought yourself that safety, and that is going to be a very good thing to have right now because you see a different Aegis. They really double down on that scaling. They double down on the 5v5 from two backs. Partisans also took a little bit off, as them suggested, like, okay, maybe don't show your cards early, don't really go that skirmish heavy, that pick heavy first two picks. They now have different tools, but they can figure it out. Is this a winning recipe or not? If it isn't, then they can go back to the drawing board. Game three just will happen. It's a best of one again against the same team you played in the last one, and you can try to
Yeah.
win that one to actually advance.
The only real downside here of Partisans winning this game is that eventually we're going to stop being excited and proud of them for beating these strong teams, but they're just going to be really good. It's like the
Yeah.
LFL. When LFL wins, we're like, whatever. Okay, sure, good
Expected.
job. Yeah, but then Partisans eventually they're going to not be the underdog anymore. They're just about to make it to EMEA Masters main stage, and we're going to run out of energy for them. And the only person who's already run out of that energy is Dem, of course. He has came out of game one being like, I didn't like that from Partisans, wasn't my favorite, didn't do this particularly well. And everyone else is like, yeah, you beat the LFL team, let's go. So, Dem keeping it real for us all, and we'll all
Yeah,
end up as Dem before long.
he keeps it real. He keeps it real. He's a bit young to be a disappointed dad, but for the rest, yeah, I mean, they won, and that was job one, right? But
Yeah.
that's what a coach has to do. They have to nitpick. They have to look at the small things and be like, I'm actually not. I'm never satisfied. Like it wasn't a perfect game, but they don't need a perfect game. They just need one more
Yeah.
win, and they're in. And I don't think come EMEA Masters main stage, yeah, the underdog energy will be a bit gone, but not that much. We've seen it in the past.
Mm.
We had Simsys up, we had Machko from minor regions actually
Yeah.
going to the main stage, and it's for Partisans, it's an even greater story. I mean, this
Yeah.
like if they do it, someone should make a movie or an anime out of it. Like you're making this small team in second division LLC, they work really well, they win, then they because of Yopa and Clogs being there, they actually have good LTRs to go to another ERL. They go there, they win everything. They go to EMEA Masters, they win everything. That just sounds like any sports movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd watch it. I would pay for that for sure. So someone get on it. We need to get one of these league YouTubers Gmail on it or something to put that story together. I'm sure he's got an open calendar. I mean, there's nothing much going on in NA these days, so you can just start an EMEA. We've got all the cool stuff over here, man. Just make the switch.
Yeah, I would watch that one on repeat on a beautiful night. Now we're still waiting on an update. We don't have news yet. We just have an in-game pause. It gives us some time to talk about everything that happened so far. I mean, the first game was a surprise for some of you, maybe, that we had Lunet coming back on the Zillion. He had an amazing game. Shout out to him. I would have loved to see his Blitzcrank, but that's probably a bit too flippy.
They'll bring him back game 3 when they win this one. They'll bring him back.
Actually, they can just swap him back in, right?
Yeah,
they can just be like, that game was better. I mean, we're just 40 minutes in. Who knows? This is maybe a 20-minute stomp from Partisans. They'll be like, well...
So someone can calculate how they can win in 6 minutes from this point without Aegis sitting in the fountain.
I have seen crazier things, but it would be pretty crazy, we ended the game with we entered the pause with a Kraken Slayer on the Jinx, with the Andres on the Orianna, so the scaling is starting to get online. In a front-to-back 5v5, the comp of Aegis is kind of scary. The only caveat I'm going to keep making is their damage profile isn't huge. They are looking to really hit some marks, hit some abilities. And I wouldn't like to be Skewmont, because it's fun to have that Vi as a bridge in the early game, but he's going to be Snilla in the late game from last game, where it's just like, you can ult in, but you're probably going to go down, and the rest of the team will have some trouble following you as long as you don't have the perfect setup to set Aika up for Shockwave.
We are back in business here in game number 2. Shiganari cancelling the recall of Yoppa. See how this game develops past the 14-minute mark. So we've got a fair few bits on the Dragon, which has been a bit of a sticking point for both of these teams. Happy to get scrappy around it in game 1. And the lane's generally in a decent spot for Partisans, but they have a bit more to deal with in the Shiganari Jinx. Not the Hantera Varus. And you have that Prime League winning AD carry coming in to step into the carry shoes. As they've actually picked up first turret gold as well. We saw that Herald committed earlier, and Shiganari with even more money to play with.
Yeah, and in general, Aegis, they would love to have these 5v5 link-ups in the mid to late game, but for Partisans, what they did for themselves is they drafted the comfort to ignore Shiganari, to ignore Aika, by just sending Lundorf off to the side, having a very, very safe 4-1 composition when you have Viego in the wings, and then you have basically an AD carry and a mid laner that really can't be dived comfortably. So in that regard, Partisans do still have some options in the mid to late game to avoid those same fights we had last game. But you touched upon it, Shiganari, and he has a beautiful story himself as well. He was a very good AD carry, or still is a good AD carry, of course, but was a very good AD carry in the LCL. He played the Unicorns there, Unicorns of Love. And then after leaving the LCL, he got picked up by Unicorns of Love 60 Edition because he was so great, and GP was just like, I need this AD carry in my lineup, and then he wins the Prime League. So now going over to the LFL, trying to win that league as well. He stranded on 3rd place in his first season, which is definitely nothing to be, to go over lightly. I mean, K-Corp and Vitality P didn't even make playoffs. Ooh, Hantera.
Gonna get grasped on by the charm and the quickness, and there's a follow-up from Rilla that we've been flagging up. Yoppa gifted the kill. Eichel with the shockwave, finds them but doesn't have the damage yet to make it stick, and actually flashes away. That's the Orianna. Critical Summoner dropped, Lundorf rotating over as well. It's a nice play setup for Partisans, just as the Dragon spawns, and they'll rotate over.
Yeah, that was a bit of a too much respect flash from Aika, and very good play from Partisans. And this is what Dogda kind of alluded on the desk, was like, the issue was vision control in the late game. Do you fix it with getting your AD carry back in? Apparently not right now. Partisans ahead of the play, but Aegis, they kind of want to contest this.
Rilla on the flank again, and there's the full engage onto the mid lane and the bot lane. Shiganari flashes away, Lundorf searching for him. As Lissandra Ignite will pick it up, he'll get the mid laner too. Jungler is down, Snilla didn't make it out, but Skewmond as well. It's the triple kill, in fact, for Lissandra, as Lot now caught in the bully circle between Yoppa and Lundorf. Flash away does Rilla. He doesn't quite have TP as well, so this isn't easily playable necessarily with a tower to help Aegis. But still, the kill's over for Partisans. And Rilla in that brush, man, name a better duo.
Yeah, I mean, the absolute disrespect from Aegis to fall into the same trap. But now 17 minutes into the game, 60 minutes into the game, they lose flash on Aika. They lose complete vision control and priority, and they're like, yeah, this is face checkable. Let's just run in, have no flash on Orianna, have no shockwave at the ready, and outfight Partisans. And Partisans, they catch that drift, they catch that challenge, and they just slap it back. The only thing saving it a little bit is Lot being a Giga Chad on the sign and flashing in to get a kill. But you have 2 kills now on the side of Aegis, both on the sign, which is really awkward, and you're actually losing control. But then if I pump my brakes and I look at the scoreboard, well, I hate to break it to you, but the gold lead is not there for Partisans.
Hook onto Clocks, cancels the W as well, and there's the Chompers, there's the Fox, there's the Rocket coming out, and Shigenari picks up his first kill of the game. Clocks now getting a bit too comfortable, to be fair, in his own side of the jungle, and Shigenari DCs in pleasure, I guess.
Yeah, he just wanted to stunt a bit, wanted to style a bit. It was like, I arrived in the game, let's get out of the game and get back in real quickly. Got that first kill, and a bit of a pick on Clocks. Normally, Rakan, and definitely in the hands of Clocks, very safe champion. Didn't have his flash though, and it was a very good death sentence from Antera. Living up to the name of the ability, actually getting a kill and now a lead for Aegis, and how quickly those tables can turn. I mean, they looked on fire around the Dragon, get a second Drake, setting themselves up for a good mid to late game, but then suddenly out of nowhere, the lead is completely in the hands of Aegis.
Those outer towers all gone for Partisans, and they have the kills on Gorilla there. Yoppa as well, with the CS lead, with the kills, going to be extending towards that late game Sivir win condition, but it does kind of feel, Dino, like we are heading towards another game 1 situation. As long as Aegis can, I guess, get a bit more of that respect back, because they finally seem to have lost it a little bit, and they were punished more heavily than we would normally see by Partisans in game 1, as Lundorf will get 1 turret back, and Vi's heading down, Hantera as well in the river. Gonna be tricky for Lundorf to squirm his way out of this 3v1. Gwen, of course, does have the Rift Maker, can pull off miracles at times, gets away from the decimating smash, but the shields are down into the mist, and really no damage has been dealt by Lundorf to anyone else. Skumon will pick that kill up. It took them a little while, but they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I was looking at the minimap to see, okay, problem-solving Partisans, what can we do? Because Lundorf wasn't gonna go down fast. I mean, you have a Sign, you have a Vi. It does do some damage. It has some base stats to check you on, but it doesn't have a lot of damage.
They lost kills and now we're ahead in gold.
Yeah, so what happened is that Partisans just pushed in mid, pushed in top, and they just wrestled the gold lead back. And now you're like, oh, we made a pick. You look back, it's like, well,
hang on,
probably actually shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, the results-based analysis tells us it was a bad idea.
Yeah,
didn't
exactly.
lose any summoners, they didn't lose any towers on bot lane, and they took tower on top while this was all going on. So, easy clap for Partisans, keeping this game nice and even as we get back into this mid lane. We haven't had any of these explosive fights for a little while. The objective's likely where we're going to see them, as yeah, we're just kind of sitting at that even point right now. As I was kind of saying before, we'll see if Aegis can get some of that respect back, because they did seem to lose it a little bit in that last fight, and they really don't have any room to play with against the Lissandra, against the Rakan. They might not have the vibe, but there's still so many great engage tools to contend with.
No, 100%. I love Rakan as an engage tool. I mean, you just see one person you think is out of position, suddenly Rakan pops up and you're out of position, and something Aegis will need to respect in every team fight. The beauty of this game in general is, if we take a step back and we start to think about this EMEA Master Planes, on the other stream, on Universe 2, we saw the TCL third seed drop out, which in itself is insane. That this shouldn't happen. That region normally goes to MSI and Worlds, and now their third seed can't even make EMEA Master main stage. We saw the Arabic League, first time ever, they actually went through, and now we're seeing Aegis struggle. Because let's be honest, they're not winning convincingly at all at the moment. They lost the first game. There were circumstances that you say, like, you can point at, but still, you're not stomping them in the second game. So it's becoming a way more tense EMEA Master Planes, I think, than anyone expected. With the seed changes coming in, you mainly looked at TCL and LFL to be the surefire teams to get out. Apparently, that's not the case. So Aegis, you really need to step up today.
Seems like Superliga really did break the curse with Heretics last time. They broke the LFL stranglehold, and now everything is in flux. No one knows what's going on. Up is down in the EMEA Masters. We will, I guess we're yet to see if we're free from for the Superliga, or we're just under new management, you know, and the Superliga comes in the main stage and just starts clapping everybody, especially if the LFL isn't looking as hot as maybe we'd have thought.
Yeah, that's a good question actually. Like, oh, finally freedom, and then you realize LVP is just the new big bad. It's just the same story all over again.
They don't even deign to come down here into the play-ins with us, you know? They don't even waste any time. But Partizan has something to say about that. Sneal at Heartbreakers over the wall. There's that self-peel that we talked about. Gets away from the Vi ultimate with a perfectly timed ultimate of his own. And the engage does not work.
It doesn't even invest his flash. I mean, it is posturing around the dragon, so they can pick up a second dragon. Don't mind Partisans. Give them the dragon. Just push in mid. Get the tower. Unless if you want to fight. Because, I mean, they did use both of their engage tools, so you should have some safety. And it looks like Partisans, they kind of want to fight.
Yeah, they're feeling good about it. Those two have been popped. They're stepping into the river. Aegis. Here's some of that respect we know and love. They are going to peel back. Ica on the flank. Rilla.
Oh,
his
Rilla.
favorite brush, but they've checked him out. They know. They've seen this story before. Dragon below half, but it does reset. A lot pushing Lundorf around. Rilla comes in, finds the Sons of Skewmon, forces the fight to flash away. Out comes the box from Hantera to stymie up that further engage. And again, nobody falls. Lundorf drops the mist with the needlework as well. Now a lot of tools to come out. Partizan, Rilla goes in, gets the triple lock up onto Ica with the exhaust as well. They still can't find the kill. Again, nobody goes down. Rilla, does he pull it again for the third time? This time he will not go for the repeat engage, but nobody died at the end of it all, Dino.
Partisans do still have the inside track on the dragon. We see a lot back. He has TP, and it might have to invest this. I don't think they want to give over Soul Point. And you see double TP coming out. Aegis is going for the second fight.
Going for round number 2 here. Rilla again on his own little flank angle. He's been pushed out of that brush, and he's had to find a new idea. It worked pretty well last time, but he's got no ult, no flash. And you can see the hesitation that Partisans has. They don't feel confident about this. Hantera now rotating back from the fountain. Walk up onto Yoppa. Lots is pretty much on his own right here. The rest of Aegis are so far back.
Tension is building. They're actually bursting the dragon. Rilla goes over.
Only finds the root. Still picks up the dragon though. Skewmon instantly lands and back out. Partisans, you've got what you need. They see no reason to continue this. And now they're on Mountain Soul Point.
This is actually completely huge for Partisans. The amount of control they displayed in that fight. They had people low on the side of Aegis, but Aegis was team fighting properly around the Jinx rockets, around keeping that front to back alive, and it made it hard for Partisans to crack the shield, as it was hard in the last game. But what they actually did is they just continually built that pressure around the dragon. They never gave up. They kept playing forward, and mind you, they invested double TP on the side of Aegis just to make sure that Soul Point doesn't go over. Partisans had all the choices to make in the world. I mean, I called it. Oh, Real needs to be careful. He gets interrupted. Oh, last second.
Very lenient, the E
yeah,
timing.
it's really lenient.
Leave that one very late.
It catches me off guard every time. It's like, oh, the animation is stopped. Well, yeah, but you still have like 0.5 seconds ago.
Yeah. That's when you think he's not going to take it when they're engaging on you. Like, oh, it's fine. And then he appears and ults you. And you're like, oh, come on now. I'm sure I had that one. As Aegis not playing with time themselves, they're straight onto the Baron. We've seen this from last game as well. Lundorf's pretty far away. Rilla too. And Shiganari doing the damage. Clock's caught up again. Look at the ult committed and the Rakan falls. Yoppa with the spell shield gets away from the S sentence and Aegis. They don't feel confident for the 5v4 Baron, but they'll take the kill.
I think Aegis, that was the exact play they wanted to make. Try to catch someone off, get the tempo out of this, out of the play of Partisans, because they were kind of running away with the game. I was harping into it. Like, you invest double TP, you don't want to give over Soul Point. Now, Partisans, they had the entire comfort of making choices. This was a forced error. We had a face check of Clocks. He got caught by Hantera and the chompers from Shiganari, but that is something he had to do. Make sure that Shiganari and the rest can't really take the Baron. But before, they had the choice of like, okay, we can leave the dragon, push in mid, and take control over the map that way. We can push in side lanes, or we can contest. And they called Aegis on the fact that they used both ultis trying to engage on a Viego that disengaged over the wall beautifully, to be like, we win this fight, even if it goes long, even if it's 5v5, even if it's front to back. And then when Aegis disengages to double TP back in, Partisans, they show the guts to be like, oh, we still win this fight. You can come back with full HP bars. We don't care. This is our dragon. And they actually took it. So Aegis, they had to find that pick. It was good. It was good to take the tempo away from Partisans. But I still think Partisans are in complete control.
I think guts is the right word. This team is unflappable, and they have been all the way along this miracle run that they are on. As the kills are now even, but they're still just about in control of the gold lead. A couple hundred to their favor, but a Mountain Soul point. They know what Aegis have to do. When that dragon comes up, they'll be able to drag them around the map. As again, they start at the Baron, but peel back again. They've got Rilla TP. Aegis loves to pull this one. They love to just start it up.
Yeah, Real TP was the only objective there. The advantage for Partisans is now gone. I think he could have waited on the TP a bit more, but Partisans really don't want to throw this game in. I mean, winning this game puts them in EMEA Masters main stage. It would be huge for the region, it would be huge for the players, and you would upset LFL third seed in the way there, so I understand erring on the side of caution there, TPing in early. But that was exactly the plan of Aegis. The moment the TP comes in, they disengage because that's all they wanted. Now the advantage on the map is a bit gone, but Lundorf's TP came back, so they can just repeat the same play. Put Lundorf in the bot side.
Rilla, he's used his E already and he gets knocked up. He has to use the ult to save himself if he even gets a chance. Goes golden. And now there's no question for Partizans. Clocks goes in deep for the quickening. Lundorf with the needlework slices through Aegis. And it was Rilla who presented himself as the target. Probably not intentionally, but it works out.
I mean, Rilla was just spamming the new bait ping, and he was just like, I got this. I'm just going to buy so much time. The front to back with Sivir actually having a Kraken Slayer was way too much damage for Aegis, and this spells doom. Because the problem there is, it was a front to back where you get a pick on the AP. And that's the beauty of the Partisans comp. They can peel for themselves. Rilla bought so much time. Even though he didn't ult on time, he still had the Zhonya's. He then ults afterwards. He kind of saved the ult to save the fight as well. So it was beautifully played. And then Yoppa in the backline is just firing away. And Aegis now realized, like, even if you force 5v5s, as long as you don't play it out perfectly, we will probably lose them. And this is a hard realization to have. Because if you lose this one, you're out. There is no redos, there is no retakes. It's a short tournament, you get 3 days, and if you lose too many games, you're out. I know that way too well because I come from the Benelux, and I think LFL is just getting that realization now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't laugh as an NLC resident, so...
I mean, this is your...
At least we have the main stage seed. We have Riddle waiting on the top side as Lot, doesn't want to wait around, gets a spell shield from Yoppa, knocked up by Clocks. We still find the Q to decimating smash, but no knock up, and the engage does not come to anything. And you said, you know, it's a tough realization for Aegis to find out. We don't actually necessarily just win 5v5s yet. And there's an important one coming around the corner. The Mountain Soul is live. The Partisans, they love to pick that one up to keep themselves safe and keep this advantage building for them.
I think I'm seeing Aegis crumble right in front of my eyes. I mean, this time they only used the Sign ult. It's not that big of a deal, but you see how hard it is to actually find an engage. Like, the comp Partisans drafted around it is so beautiful that no member you try to target with the Vi or the Sign is instantly in trouble. Vi can smite away the spell shield to try to get that engage off on Sivir, but Yoppa hasn't been out of position that much, so they need to use the Sign ult, and the Sign ult just doesn't do anything against Sivir. And I know Partisans want to fight this. They wanted to fight this last time, and now it's a soul point.
Oh, they're looking for Rilla again. They found the stun of the Vi ultimate. Does he get a chance? He's shut down! No buttons allowed to be pressed. This time it works out, and Partisans finally put a foot wrong. Aegis really, really needed that.
I want to see the answer here. Are they going to try to steal it with Snil or not? Or are they just going to push in the mid lane, try to get some damage on the tower? You can't overstay here. Huntero has the lantern, and Snil is actually caught behind enemy lines.
Rotating over Lot and Skewmon through the jungle. They commit the Scion ultimate, but Clocks is there ready to escort Snilla to safety. And it's just the kill for Rilla to shut down as well. But we could see that he was on that side last time in the last dragon fight, right? That's where he was sitting, and this time they had it warded. This time they were ready. They learned, they adapted, and they got the dragon. They might even turn this into the Baron. Rilla's still 10 seconds dead with the TP up, but does he have time? Yoppa's on the front line. He's going to have to pull some of this ricochet magic, or maybe Snilla needs to fight his way for a steal. The Baron going away could be disastrous for them. It's picked up by Aegis. Lundorf in the front line. There's the engage on the fight, and now Rilla's TPing for the flank. Maybe they can turn this around. In with the 3-man route, in with the ult as well. Shiganari is way into safety, still got summoners, but Aegis are not going to get out cleanly here. Lundorf searches for more, grabs Aka, and it's 3 buffs down. But still, Baron for Aegis.
It's Baron for Aegis, but it costs them an arm and a leg, and they only have 2 people left with the buff. But it's one of the most important ones. Shiganari actually sporting it. Partisans, they should try to take this mid tower, actually even the odds a bit, and they're actually pushing in the top side as well, so they're making the right plays here. Rilla sadly got caught around that dragon fight. It was better played by Aegis. They're starting to figure out how Partisans are creating the chaos. As you said, the bush was finally warded, but also they found the pick on Willa, found the CC chain so he couldn't ult himself, and made it happen. Translated that into a Baron play, but then the response of Partisans is almost perfect. I mean, they couldn't really stop the Baron. They went for the fight. Would have been happier to take out all 5, of course, that would be insane. But taking out 3 already buys you so much more time. There is no real split push threat to be had. You need Skewmont to link up with the rest of the team. It would have been rougher if the Baron buff was divided around 5 members and you could maybe send Lot into a side lane. But right now, it's just making sure you track where Skewmont and Shiganari are and keep your base safe, and you're still in position to try to take that Mountain Soul when it's spawns.
Yeah, in another classic from this series, Partizan die, they get picked off at the Dragon, give away the Baron, and they still end the play further up in gold than they started. So, you know, I don't know how to quantify this team. Partizan's just found the way. They just kind of break the laws of time and space, and they always make it work for themselves.
They don't care one damn about physics. I mean, they came from NLC too, and they're just moving up. It doesn't matter how, just matter that it works.
We go forward as they crash this wave, and they've got some better sieging tools potentially with the Jinx range, and Terra can provide the peel needed as Lundorf threatening on the flank, keeping Aegis bobbing and weaving. Lot, though, has found his way into the spot lane tower with the demolish. They're surely going to go down, and finally that gold lead will start to swing back.
Yeah, but we're trading on the map. Lundorf still has TP. I'm looking for flank wards. There's only one there that is really comfortable.
Into the box, but nothing else comes of it. Lot's going so low. Yoppa as well has to flash back. It's pretty sketchy to start this off. Really in with the flash for the runes! And look at that Acre punch field to Yoppa, but maybe it's not enough as Shinigari is traded, and Partisans again on the flank, punishing the push, and Snilla can take the form of the AD carry. They don't need Yoppa anymore because they've got Shinigari's soul.
It's all fun and games, Aegis, that you have your complete lineup, but you're just getting outplayed on the map. We see a push in the mid lane from Lundorf, and you see Partisans set up for the flank fight. The problem is Aegis need that really comfortable front-to-back 5v5, and one reset for Snilla is enough to turn the tides of the battle, and even though you get Yoppa out of there, Partisans, they swing this game right open.
Now they've got the base to crack open for themselves. Every time Aegis start a play, they end up worse off for it. Mid-hip's going to go down. It's just going to be the only one there. And there's a minute left on the Dragon where Partisans can have round number 2 at Soul Point. This time, they will have a real gold lead, and they'll have the pressure of supers in mid.
And this is the issue where Aegis, they put all the eggs in 2 carries, where Partisans, they put every egg on every different player. Like, they can disengage and engage any team fight they want. Lundorf is a big issue with the 3 items, getting the flank off. If you catch out Yoppa and get him down, but you lose 1 member, you get Snilla rolling, you get Ryle's passive rolling, and it's looking dire for the LFL 3rd seed. I'm about ready to call this game, and what would it mean for Serbia? What would it mean for that region and for the players on Partisans to just be like, okay, we basically made EMEA Masters main stage 8-0 while going through Aegis in the knockouts.
Yeah, just bulldozing their way through all challengers so far in 2023. Partisans getting the mid-wave under control, and Aegis has first move onto this Dragon. You can see Snilla rotating over, but the team from Partisans is still a ways away. They might be too far out to force this Snilla. He's going to have to go for the steal, and he goes to the Heartbreaker, steals it! He just walks up and takes it! How has this been allowed?
Skewmont, come on, man! You can't let this happen. I mean, Partisans, this is history in the making. They're just running away with the game now.
That's crazy. That is, if anything's, mental boom for Aegis. That's got to be it. How was that allowed to happen? How is there no defense to be mounted? Ica has to TP back into the base, but this means Terra has been left on his lonesome to be picked apart in this 1 versus 2. It's not going to be quick, but it is going to happen. Shiganari currently catching mid. Vi's on the recall as well. So we've got 4 versus 5 with the Mountain Soul. We could be going into the end game here.
I mean, that's your safety gone. No Thresh to save you. Snilla, he snuffs that out. It's just like, okay, I'm going to dive this backside, make sure they can't defend the tower, and with the Mountain Soul, Partisans, they're ready to write history for the EBL. They're ready to write history for themselves, and they're ready to make sure that the LFL, even though they are one of the only regions to have 3 seats, that they're not going to get all 3 into the main stage.
Lundorf on the flank once again. They don't have a Baron to keep this wave safe, and you can see how quickly the wave is thinned out by Shiganari and Ica, and Partisans peel back for the time being. Baron's up in 20 seconds, and they still have the pressure from the supers in top lane, but they will always have this Mountain Soul Dino. That buff ain't fallen off, but the game is not done. The job is not completed, and all Partisans have to do, they have to keep their heads. Don't see the trophy materializing in front of your eyes. Don't get too confident now.
Yeah, don't be me. Don't be calling the game too early. They err on the side of caution, of course. Again, it would be such an insane upset. Losing the TCL seed as well. EMEA Master Plains has never looked this great, this spicy, and Partisans are a big part of it. And these players, they are players that have been around the system quite a while, but well, maybe except Snilla, he's not have the biggest track record, but the other names should ring a bell if you look at EMEA Masters in general and look at other ERLs. But they played second division NLC. They played it damn well, but they played second division, won everything, and it was like, what is going to happen with this team? And then they decided to go over to the EBL only to keep winning. And then they decide to go into EMEA Master Plains only to keep winning.
Shoutouts to them for scouting this roster together, and shoutouts to whoever's scouting at Partisans for just going, hey, this looks like a full team over there. We could just grab that whole thing. We don't have to think any more closely than that. And what a pickup that has been from straight... The Partisans only joined the EBL in 2022 summer, and they came, I think, third in that season. Obviously, there's a lot of history in that name in Serbia as a sports club, but they came into the esports arm, and within 2 splits, they won the whole EBL, and they're on the cusp of making EMEA Masters main stage as they head onto the Baron buff with no one looking to contest them, really. There's a Vi looking to maybe catch them out, but that is a tall order to pull off this steal, as Clocks has already spotted her.
This is looking dicey. I mean, I see a shutdown on my stream against Lundorf. That's big, but the Baron is going over and Skewmont is in trouble.
Have to retreat back to that top side as Lundorf does give some gold over it, but he absorbs enough time. Again, Lundorf dies in bot lane, and oh no, look what's happening in topside river. It's all going Partizan's way, and they have the Soul. They have the Baron buff. Still a couple of minutes on the Elder as well, and to be honest, if I'm Partizans, I don't know if I want to start flipping that one. I don't know if I want to enter that level of chicanery into this game when you're in such a good spot.
Yeah, this is getting a bit dicey for Aegis. I mean, you just gave over the Baron to a composition that was already outplaying you, to a team that was already outplaying you in this mid to late game. You don't really have the tools to force an issue due to how Partisans drafted. The moment Lundorf responds, I can feel the flood coming of the Partisans, and I don't see Aegis actually stemming the tide, stopping this wave of Partisans just crashing down and doing it for the EBL, because it would be huge for the EBL, for these players to go through Aegis. This cannot be understated enough. Yeah, okay, the first game, you can put a small asterisk. This second game, you have nothing to hide behind as the LFL, and it would be a bad day for them, but a great day for the minor leagues.
The second game is taking about the same amount of time as the first game took, but it has looked a lot more Partisans, at least just on the eye test, right? The goals has still been very close, but when we're watching how these fights play out, it really feels like Partisans have been in control of this game for the vast majority of it, as they now head onto this bot lane push. Snilla finds a stun onto Lot. The rest of Aegis around the corner, though, ready to bail him out. And Yoppa does have that Baron buff still on this push, I believe, so the Sivert can get these waves crashed in real fast.
We're looking at the last legs of Aegis here. The Baron buff is barreling down on their base. We see Lundorf onto the side lane. One misstep can be enough, and engaging on the Partisans is so hard. You're way too far behind right now as well. The Mountain Soul in its own is already a huge lead. You see that the carries, they have everything they need as well to finish this game, and the last real 5v5 front to back, we saw the damage of the Sivir with the ricochets just churning through Lot, and then hitting the rest of the team was enough for them to win. So Partisans, they just need to make sure they don't make a mistake. They can use the pressure of the Elder to lure Aegis in, and they can either play for a collapse or just burst the dragon and then use that better fighting buff to finish the game.
Yeah, and Aegis might be on their last legs, but they're pretty sturdy, they're pretty muscular. They have kept these buffs and these this Partisan squad at bay outside their own base. They've got their in-hit back now. They don't have as much active pressure coming in, but maybe they've dropped the ball again. We've seen this last game. They've got the inside track onto bot lane. See if they get collapsed on, if they'll find this tower. Do they go for more? They'll simply back away for now. And Aegis needs to decide what they want to do here. Do they go for the pick? Do they try to catch them out? Do they reset for the dragon? Lot maybe wants to find a fight, but doesn't want to commit the decimating smash. Snilla using the camouflage to his advantage as Lundorf's still in mid. And Partisans, they open up that bot inhib and peel back for this Dragon Pit.
Yeah, they're just dancing around Aegis at the time. They're just making sure that Aegis don't really find an opening, don't really find the engage they need. We're calling in the TPs. We can't give over Elder. That's the call right now. And Aegis, they are mustering up everything they have left. They can't lose this game. It would be such a bad day for them. It would be such a blemish on the record of the LFL. And all they just need to do is find the right fight with this front-to-back 5v5 team fight. But look where Lundorf is already. His flank is already set. And Aegis, they have to choose between a rock and a hard place right now. And they just don't know what to do.
To at least have a ward in the Rilla brush. They won't be able to get flanked from that angle, but Lundorf is behind them and they're moving in. Dilla goes in, finds a stun to Skewmont. Rilla heads in, into a flash, finds the stuns against Shiganari. Lundorf diving forward for Jinx, he flashes over the wall. It's a big Orion ultimate, and Aegis are fighting back somewhat. It's 1-for-1 just now. They find the second. Have they managed to stabilize as Yoppa takes big damage from the rockets? Rilla and Yoppa splashing from Skewmont. They find the shutdown, and Rilla's back in, but he goes golden. Now Snilla in the camouflage. Can he find anything? Can he do this job? Shutdown picked up from Shiganari, and Aegis find the fight they need. At the jaws of defeat, they will push Partisans back, and they'll catch Snilla in this river. Now this is a 1 versus 2 that Viego could definitely win, but the Elder is now there. The threshold makes this a lot harder, and Jinx Rocket lands true. The ace for Aegis, and they are not done yet.
Ooh, Aegis, they really needed that to happen. They really needed to keep themselves alive in this best of 3, and they kind of did it there with a beautiful front-to-back team fight. It was hard for the Partisans. They kind of found the right window, but don't overstep here. Partisans are respawning. Aegis, they know that they're in the ropes. They know they want to finish this game, and with the Elder buff, they think they're strong enough in the base of the Partisans to actually finish the job.
Committing hard with Shiganari, they're going full hit. Lost Pulse goes to the knockup, Sundorf's up the fountain, but they can't stop it, Dino. After all that, Partisans had it in their grasp, but Aegis will snap